Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special predictions video. Lots of people's favorite awards. The most credible organization of all time, the HFPA, the Golden
Hey,
Globes.
they're
They're
getting
getting more
better.
credible. They're getting much better. They did
We
Challengers
have
and Score last year. They did
we have
Flow.
Academy Award nominee Fernando Torres, and I would argue Academy Award winner I'm Still Here.
Yeah,
So I credit that to the Globes.
I agree. I agree. And that's something to keep in mind when we do these predictions this year. Old Globes did stuff like music or went for stars and all of that stuff. Whereas these new ones, they added a lot more international critics. They're leaning more international. They do, I think her name was like Alma Poisty for that Unleashed movie. They do a lot of more interesting. They did Pael Kapadia and Best Director last year. So it's hard to predict because we've only had like 1.5 years of this full awards body what exactly they're going to go for in a lot of these categories. It's kind of just like a shot in the dark because we don't have a ton of track record of what they go for. So that makes it fun. And I think it also makes it fun because their surprises are a little more tasteful than some of their older surprises in past years. So any thoughts, Anthony, before we jump on in?
Let's jump on in.
Best Picture Drama. I think there's an easy top 5 here. I think you got Hamnet, It Was Just an Accident, Sentimental Value, Sinners, and Frankenstein. Then in that 6th spot, I think you've got 3 movies fighting for it. I think you've got The Secret Agent, Train Dreams, and Avatar all going for it. And I think past Globes would have gone for Avatar. But right now, especially with what happened with I'm Still Here last year, I know that didn't get into picture or anything, but I feel like the international critics are gonna go for The Secret Agent. I feel like when I see a lot of love for that film, it's from more international critics. And I want it to be Train Dreams, but I don't know. Something is just speaking to me about The Secret Agent in particular.
Yeah, I think it definitely fits the mold of what they've gone for in the past years. Um, I get the sense we're speaking with somebody who has seen Avatar, but under embargo. But I get the
Yes.
sense that this isn't going to like do wildly different things or overperform the performance of The Way of Water. So I'm not going to put any of my chips in the Fire and Ash basket as of now. We'll see when it debuts, but I have a feeling it's going to perform at the same level or less than Way of Water. Again, I think that it doesn't have the he did it again. It's been 13 years fanfare that Way of Water has. It being only 3
There's a
years.
lot less new stuff in this than there was
Yeah,
in Way of Water.
I'm also garnering, again, you can't confirm or deny, but that there's a lot more lore. And like, I feel like the first film was more like enjoying the world, which in many ways is showing off the technology and the visuals, where this film feels more like we're deepening the Avatar lore, which I'm not sure for non-Avatar fans is going to appeal. So for those reasons, I think that I think there are, other than The Secret Agent, there are a few films that I would keep a look at. I think Train Dreams, we're going to be talking about the National Board of Review. It's been climbing and climbing and climbing. And I think the benefit that has, as The Secret Agent has, is that it could show up in Best Actor drama. And so there's other places for it to get nominations. I think that's always important. And it's what I think takes out some of the other contenders, especially at the Globes, because I don't see where F1 or Is This Thing On can really like find pockets of other places to get nominated for that.
F1 could get PGA maybe.
Yeah, but for Golden Globes, I just
For
don't
Golden
see it.
Globes, yeah. No.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I could maybe see Will Arnett sneak into Best Actor, but it's going to be tough. So I think for now, I think like it could be a Best Actor at the Oscars. That last spot is going to be between Secret Agent and potentially Train Dreams, and maybe there's a world where both of them get in. But I think right now, I'm going to go Secret Agent. I think the international voters are going to be more behind that film. Also, Netflix has a clear frontrunner, and they know what they're campaigning.
Mm-hmm.
They're campaigning Frankenstein. That will be represented here. And so I think that also...
We also have 3 Neon films in here, to be fair.
Yes, but something about Netflix and the way they campaign. I think Neon, because they're a little bit smaller, and I think because they're not necessarily... Like, Netflix they have the vibe of a tech company, where I think Neon has the vibe of an entertainment, like film, indie. Jacob Elordi on the rise, the techs are on the rise, and I think Secret Agent might win out getting that 6th spot. So I am in agreement with you.
Awesome. Now, you don't think any of those top 5 would miss either? I'm trying to find a world where I can fit Train Dreams in along with Secret Agent, but I just don't think any of them are vulnerable.
Yeah, I don't. No, they're very strong. They're strong here. They're strong at the Oscars.
Yeah. I'm rooting for Train Dreams though, but I would be happy to see Secret Agent as well. Um, so moving along, sticking in drama categories, actress drama is an interesting race this year. I think we've got a clear winner with Jessie Buckley, who'll be winning everywhere. And then we've got clear number 2, like everywhere, with Renata Rensby. And then after that, I went with Jennifer Lawrence for Diamond Love because there's a lot of love for that performance in particular. And there's not a ton of competition. So I feel like the combination, I mean, they nominated her for what was that movie? No Hard Feelings. What was that? What it was called? Yeah, for that movie a few years ago. So they clearly like her. It's widely considered by a lot of people one for best.
She won for
performances, so I
Joy.
put that in there.
Too.
She won for Joy. Yeah, that's true. That's true. So they do like her. Tessa Thompson for Hedda, I think, because there's not a ton of competition. I think she's probably in like your top 10 at the Oscars in the 6 to 10 range. Strong work. Julia Roberts for After the Hunt, because she's Julia Roberts, big name. And I think even if they don't like the movie, I think most people who still see the movie still think she's quite good in it. And then my last spot there, I think we need to, especially like if you want to do good with predictions overall, going with the top 6 odds is your safe bet. But there are going to be some wild choices that people don't see coming. So I think in a lot of these categories, for my 6th spot, I'm just choosing to like take a swing for what those wild, unexpected choices might be. You'd like an Alma Poisty for Fallen Leaves. Nadia Maletti won the Cannes Best Actress Award. Everyone who has seen that film has said it's a very good performance from her. And it seems like something maybe the New Globes might do. The one thing I worry about is maybe there's not enough like buzz surrounding the film overall. But this is such a barren category. Like I might as well swing with that.
Buzz around Fallen Leaves. I mean, I feel like
no.
So I don't know. I think you might have something there. The one, I mean, they could go star power. Old Globes would definitely go for Julia Roberts. I think the one person that I might throw on is Laura Dern, because talk about being beloved. And her movie, I think, is going to be more well regarded than After the Hunt. And I also think it's a different turn for her. Like I appreciated kind of the grounded nature of her character. I feel like a lot of times she's expected, whether it's Big Little Lies or Marriage Story, she's like this big, charismatic ball of energy. And this one, I felt like she was a little bit more subdued. It kind of reminded me of like her strong moments in Jurassic Park, where like she's kind of like, the thing that kind of keeps everything human. And I really admired that performance. And also I think she'll get points for her work in Jay Kelly as well. So I could see her maybe taking Julia Roberts or Tessa Thompson's spot, just because I think Hedda is a little bit, it's not the most prioritized movie this year. It's a low priority screener, I think, for a lot of people, where I think Is This Thing On is hitting at the right time. So I think that's one to consider. The others, I'm curious. The only 2 I would probably throw out there other than that are Sydney Sweeney for Christie, a physically
Old Globes
demanding role. Well, and maybe New Globes, because I think just the type that movie kind of goes in directions that you don't expect it to, and they might admire that. And also Lucy Liu and Rosemead. I've heard some chatter about that film. That could be your surprise, number 6s, because I do think it's quite shocking, especially as we prepare for Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair, to see her give a very different performance. But yeah, other than that, I don't really see anybody else kind of climbing this list.
Yeah, I would think that's probably about it. I know some people are also mentioning Jodie Foster for A Private Life. Jodie Foster did win here a few years ago for The Mauritanian, so I do think she's another quite respected actress amongst them. That's also a foreign film, so it might fit the more surprise pick. Yeah, but I agree. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it for your contenders here. Congrats to Jessie Buckley on the win. Actor drama. I've got Wagner Moura winning here because I do have The Secret Agent in best film overall. I think I can't remember the last time someone won an acting award against other people who were their film was in best film. I feel like usually if you're in best film, one of the categories at Golden Globes, you're going to be stronger than if you're an actor who's not.
I agree. I think Wagner Moura will probably win this because he is this, he is that movie, and it's a long film. It asks a lot of him, and I think that kind of seems like a no-brainer to me this year.
Yeah, I just see a lot of people thinking he's going to win, but then they don't have in best picture drama, whereas I think they usually have like either Sinners or Train Dreams or Frankenstein in there. So I think if he's going to win, I think he would have a much better case if the film is in best picture drama. But other than that, Michael B. Jordan, I think, is pretty safe here. I don't know if he's going to contend for a win. I don't know if it screams win kind of performance. Maybe. Joel Edgerton, I think, is going to get in regardless of if Train Dreams is in Best Picture here. And I think this is going to be like a guaranteed nomination for him overall. So I think that is very good because this is not very competitive. Dwayne Johnson for The Smashing Machine. I think even though people don't love the film, a lot of people still like and respect that performance. I think Christopher Nolan said it was like his favorite of the year. So that still makes sense.
Gladiator 2 was the best film last year. So love you, Chris.
He's got some hot takes. Then Oscar Isaac I threw in there because it's in Frankenstein. He's in Frankenstein. That's in Best Picture Drama. I think it's a widely enough seen performance. I think a good enough amount of people like it that I think he can probably get in there, considering the competition is not super.
They like Oscar Isaac more than maybe the performance. Like he's just a very endearing actor. So I think in a field of 6, kind of 12, if we're putting in the comedy musical actors, I think he gets it.
Yeah. And then my 6th spot here, I wanted to do another one of those swings. I wasn't quite sure what to do. I put Frank Delane for Urchin because I've seen a lot of buzz for his performance in particular. It fits maybe that more indie style vibe. But I think if you're going, you could also maybe do Sergi Lopez for Surratt for that. That's probably your main options to fulfill that. But if I were to be more realistic, I would probably lean towards Will Arnett for Is This Thing On? I think that's a surprise performance. Yeah.
I think he is such a beautiful, just show of his talents. There's a scene early on where Bradley Cooper films kind of the camera moving back and forth and the lighting changes. And it's a very vulnerable performance because, I always say that if you go on stage, any stage, you can't hide on stage. You just can't. As an actor, if you're on a stage, you will be seen in a way that you've never even seen yourself. And I think that this film really captures understanding that, coming to terms with that, respecting that stage, and respecting yourself. And comedy, as Howie Mandel once said, comedy comes from a dark place. And I think Will Arnett really captures that dichotomy of making people laugh off of your sadness. And I was just very moved by him. I think people know Will Arnett, going all the way back to Arrested Development, and to see him, take a big dramatic swing like this while also maintaining his comedic streak. I think it's a very worthy performance, and I certainly think he deserves to be among the 6. I mean, he arguably probably needs to be among the 5 in the Oscars. I thought he was that wonderful. So I definitely think he's taking this. I think it will also help that him and Laura come together.
Yeah, I agree. I think he is like a big surprise. I think lots of people, when they're choosing performances to vote for, I think surprising people is a big factor, and I think he does end up doing that with this performance. So I would have him in there, probably over Frank Delane. I'm also just looking at Jeremy Allen White for Springsteen.
That's crazy. It's crazy. Old Globes, he would have been all over this. But
but even recent Globes, unlike any other award ceremony, he won for all 3 seasons of The Bear. So maybe they like him. And the Globes usually don't like to reward the same thing on television. Unlike the Emmys, they usually like to reward new people and new shows. So I'm just looking at, he won for all 3 seasons thus far. Like, do they love him enough to still put him in for Springsteen?
I would posit that the potential for why they tend to go for new seasons is, I think, new seasons, think about when they're voting. A lot of times the returning favorites would debut closer to benefit the Emmy schedule and not the Golden Globe SAG schedule. And so a lot of times the new shows open earlier. And so I just get that sense that maybe the scheduling has something to do with it. And also they wanted different celebrities at the party.
And so he'll already be here for the TV awards for The Bear. So they don't need to do it over here.
Fantastic.
Okay, we agree a lot thus far. I think we might start disagreeing when we get to Best Picture, Musical, or Comedy. Another. Marty Supreme, No Other Choice, Begonia, Jay Kelly, and The Testament of Anne Lee. Some people might see missing here for me is Wicked for Good. I just don't think, especially with this new Globes and their new taste, that they're going to go for it when the category is this competitive this year. Last year, the only thing they gave it was the box office award for wins. I just don't think they're going to love it as much. I think it'll do well at places like the Critics' Choice Awards, some critics organizations. I don't know if this new body is the type of place that loves Wicked. So that's why I think if it were to take one of them out, it would be Jay Kelly or Anne Lee. But both of those, I think, fit a little bit more with what the current Globes taste is rather than Wicked.
See, I'm torn because I feel like my feelings about Wicked's performance overall is definitely decreasing closer to where you are. So I don't know if we're that far apart.
Oh,
But I do
did you add
think
Avatar in?
I think I did, but again, I'm toying
Oh,
with maybe taking them both. I actually think no, actually, you know what? I think my most recent thing is I took both of them out and put Secret Agent and Begonia, and that's my along with Train Dreams is my top 10 at the Oscars.
oh,
Because I the thing that troubles me here is that this is a musical category, and I'm not other than certain elements of Anne Lee, I'm not seeing any musical here represented, and
it's a
so I think
musical.
Wicked could,
Yeah,
Wicked could stand like, is Anne Lee a full musical or just?
pretty much. Yeah,
Oh,
there's a
okay.
solid
So
like 10 songs. Yeah,
solid 10. All right, I'll take it. I mean,
yeah,
Enchanted had 5. I think Frozen had like 7.5. So 10 is definitely a
yeah.
musical.
I might be
Um,
overestimating, but there's a lot.
but so anyway, so I think Wicked could stand apart in that regard here. I also think that so far, I know that people definitely like it less than the first film, but National Board of Review came out today. They're kind of our first bellwether. It did get into as one of the 10 films of the year there. So I'm not sure it's. I feel like definitely in wins. I don't think it's winning those same craft categories this year. We'll see about Ariana Grande if she can kind of stand apart from the film or as a bellwether of like, we're going to honor the film with her. But I think we're right now we're in like this murky territory where like it could swing either way, like as far as what Wicked's going to do. I don't think the list you have is a far cry from what it could be. I feel very strongly about that top 5. I think we could see that top 5. If anything, if Anne Lee misses
Mhm.
because it proves to be a little bit too polarizing, I could see Blue Moon pop in there because I imagine you're going to have Ethan Hawke nominated an actor.
That's true.
So I could see Blue
Yeah,
Moon pop in here. So basically, let's put it this way. I'm not going to be surprised if Wicked gets in, and I'm not going to be surprised if Wicked misses. I think either way, I think if you're putting it on, it's number 6. I just think that the other films are a little bit more Globes tested. And yeah, I'm curious what you think of Jake Kelly if you're that strong about it. I mean, is there a world where that misses? Because I think we it started off strong, it started to slip. It maybe is on an upswing. Maybe with its Netflix release this weekend, it'll come back up. Because I could see that miss, and maybe Wicked takes that spot as well.
that's true. I especially because when Jay Kelly released at Venice, which is more like an international critics place, that's like where it got its worst reviews. And this is a body of a lot of international critics, so maybe it could end up missing here. But I still feel like it's stronger than Anne Lee, in my opinion. I feel like Anne Lee is
And
divisive,
and
and
clearly you
it
think Jake Kelly's stronger than Wicked.
at this ceremony, I do think so. Maybe I think at the Oscars overall too. I saw it recently. I think it fits as something that like the people in the industry would like overall. I feel like it's just about
Yeah.
making movies, and they love those kind of movies, and it's well done.
Yeah, and I think George Clooney has. I mean, he is one of our greatest movie stars of all time, and so I think his charisma brings a lot to that film, and it has great supporting performances from Adam Sandler and Billy Crudup and Laura Dern, and so it it feels like the sort of movie that I think is easier for people to get on board with. And I think ultimately, let's say Jay Kelly and Wicked for Good have similar reactions as far as people being like not overwhelmed, not underwhelmed, but just like whelmed. I think they give a
Yeah,
little bit more credit to Jay Kelly than they do to like a studio behemoth like Wicked.
blockbuster.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah, and again, Wicked had its day, last year. So yeah, as far as any other contenders, like I mean, maybe Rental Family. Again, that's a weird one this season because it keeps popping up in places that we don't expect, but overall, it doesn't seem like it's building that momentum. Um, Old Globes would certainly go for Roofman and Song Sung Blue, but I think again that's
yeah,
not New Globes.
no,
And then of course you have Testament of Anne Lee. So yeah, I think that that's pretty much the race. The only other big surprise is that if Rose Byrne was able to shock and awe and maybe bring "If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You Along for the Ride,"
that would be amazing.
potentially that would be amazing. Definitely, as of now, would definitely be a movie I would nominate for Best Picture. But we'll
Me
see.
as well.
Yeah.
Me as well. I hope so. That would be amazing, but I have doubts. And yeah, I mean that the top I think 4 is pretty locked up. I think One Battle is clearly going to win. Marty is pretty locked. No Other Choice, I think, will do very well here, in particular with critics, an international, like more criticky body. Begonia seems strong enough to still get in. So I do think it's down to like J. Kelly, Ann Lee, and Wicked for the last 2 spots. 2 of those 3, I think, will be your final combination there. So yeah,
it would be insane. Well, it could. No Other Choice could take where I currently have The Secret Agent in my Best Picture list, and swap, because that movie starting to play. It's doing a lot of like these limited screenings in New York with Q&As, and I could see momentum and enthusiasm really build for that film, especially if the Globes embrace it like we think it will.
I've been skeptical about that one the whole season, just because the neon factor of like how many films can they truly prioritize, and can one studio get like 3 international films into Best Picture. But if it does extremely well with critics and it gains a lot of buzz, I mean, it's in like, I think, my top 5 of the year. I think most people who see it really like it. So
well, and Park Chan-wook, like Lynn Ramsey, which we talked about when debating Jennifer Lawrence's potential, has never really been an Oscar darling. So it's kind of hard to imagine they do a complete 180 with them this year. But we'll see. I do feel like this year the bench is not as strong, and we're not going like the potentials are not. Usually, I feel like you could fill up a whole Best Picture list with the films that didn't make it, and I feel like this year that would be more difficult.
Yeah, because I said, I'm trying to take some swings in like the last few spots in the categories here, but I was struggling to come up with stuff because I feel like you've just got like the main contenders, and then stuff outside of that is just not even really super close. So yeah, that is that one. Actress, musical or comedy. I've got Rose Byrne winning, even though what I just said last time, usually you can't win against people whose films are in Best Picture, like in Ann Lee or a Begonia or One Battle or all of that. But I just feel like there's enough love for that performance in general. I think it'll do really well with critics. This is a body of critics overall. I just look at the competition. I don't know if they love Ann Lee and Amanda Seyfried's performance in it enough.
Yeah, you have it in Best Picture over If I Had Legs I Kicked
I
You.
know. I think it's a stronger film overall, but I feel like when you watch both of the films, even people who like Ann Lee more, I feel like Rose Byrne's performance is just on another level. I feel like it's like really, really like one of the best of the year.
Well, I mean, clearly, I mean, she's the best of the year for me. But
yes,
I could see Amanda Seyfried as a like winner in the same way that Amy Adams won for Big Eyes, then didn't get the Oscar nomination. I mean, I see that path. Though very different films. As far afield as I think you can get. But I think right now, because I don't know if Ann Lee is in my top 6 for picture, which means that then both of these women are not in Best Picture. I think Rose Byrne.
They give it to Stone again in that case, you think?
No, I don't think so. I just think that I don't think I think people like Begonia, and I think it's been holding very well. It's been very steady, and I don't think they see this as a true, like, you could look at Poor Things as like a true achievement, like you're breaking boundaries as an actor. I just don't think people think that Begonia really challenged Stone in a way, and so I don't think they're going to give it to her.
No.
I also don't think that. I mean, Kate Hudson, I think she'll probably get in because I think she's lovely and endearing and reminds us of
she's gone for music.
Famous. Yeah, yes, she did. So I think she will likely get in there. I think Chase Infinity is probably strong because she's a coattail with One Battle After Another. Cynthia probably will get in there. I continue to maintain that I think it's hard to nominate Ariana and not nominate Cynthia. I think Ariana's strength, especially in supporting,
with 12 slots in lead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the only other one. So did you mention Jodie Foster in A Private Life for drama? Are you sure she's not in comedy?
She's in drama.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure she's in drama.
Okay. Because I'm seeing multiple reports where Variety has her in comedy. So she might show up here.
Okay.
And then the only other 2 I want to mention, just because I think they both gave great performances this year in these films, Dakota Johnson in Materialists and June Squibb in Eleanor the Great. Just because if Song Sung Blue really doesn't perform the way we think it is, I could see one of those spots being filled by either one of those 2 ladies, who I think, again, do great work. I think some of the best work, if not the best work of their career. So, I think that's the state of the race. But I agree with you. I do think ultimately it's going to be a challenge between Byrne and Seifert.
Yeah, I agree. Even though I think there's a world where neither of those are in best film here, and I think Begonia and One Battle are pretty locked up for best film in my opinion. So therefore, they would theoretically be stronger. Because I should look at the history of like when the last time someone won against someone who their film wasn't in best film, but their competitors were. But I'm gonna stick with Roseburn because I just simply think lots of people like both of us. It is my favorite singular performance of the entire year. So I think lots of people feel that way. So that's what I'm going with. And yeah, I guess the only other person I would mention is maybe Eva Victor for Sorry Baby would be a fun New Globes pick. But I just kind of think they're going to stick with Kate Hudson because it's Kate Hudson and she has more buzz at the moment. Actor in musical or comedy. We've got our clear top two here. It's going to be like last year. Our two top contenders for lead actor, I think, are going to be competing against each other. And one of them is once again Timothée Chalamet. I think he will lose once again to the eventual Oscar winner, Mr. DiCaprio, for One Battle. But those are your clear top two. I think your number three, who could maybe be a dark horse, is also Ethan Hawke. So I think your top three are all in here. Mm-hmm. I think they really should have put that in drama, though, because I feel like he could have won in drama, Ethan Hawke. I feel like that could have really helped his narrative. But either way. And then other than that, Jesse Plemons, once again, I think Begonia is going to do pretty well here, especially with it in the comedy categories. No Other Choice, which is also in best comedy musical film. I think Lee Byung-hun will get in. And then George Clooney for Jay Kelly, because I've also got that in best comedy film. It just kind of makes sense as the top six to me. I don't really know who else I would put in there.
I mean, Brendan Fraser, potentially, if Rental Family overperforms. I think it's interesting because Josh O'Connor, I believe, is being put here in this category rather than supporting for Knives Out, Wake Up Dead Man. And I mean, Daniel Craig and Ana de Armas got nominated, so you never know. Especially because Wake Up Dead Man. Again, National Board of Review kind of threw me this morning. I was like, what are we doing? What season are we in?
They do weird stuff. Yeah.
I think other than that, I think your list is strong. The only thing that's wrong with it is that Timothée Chalamet is going to win. And
I have doubts.
Is going to be in second. I know you have doubts. I love that as soon as we got over the Wicked stands and
I had to switch to something
now
else.
You switched to the Timothy.
I've been friendly with them, though. I've been friendly with the Timmy stands all along.
And not anymore. You can cry to call me by your name all you want, unless you have him as number one.
I'm keeping their expectations low, so when it happens, they can be surprised.
Well, I will once again take the voice of the people and say that Timothée Chalamet is winning this season. So I think he's definitely your number one. I think just because Marty Supreme is, I think, going to be very well received. We're already starting to see that. And it is the best place to represent. I mean, he is Marty Supreme. It's the best place to represent the movie, him. He's put in his dues. And I also think, like, again, it's going to be very weird to give Leo a second Oscar when Timothy,
I think he's overdue for a second. He waited so long for the first. It makes sense.
Then he should have gotten it for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but I don't think he should be getting it for this. I think
that was too soon after. This is like a decade after.
Oh, says Frances McDormand, who won her third 3 years after.
Well, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood wasn't also the Best Picture winner. That's how McDormand won her number one Best Picture winner.
Anyway,
Best Picture winner.
I think it's Timmy. I think Timmy will win.
Yeah, it's between them for sure at all the ceremonies, I would say. So, supporting actress is a very interesting race. I've got Tiana Taylor winning here. Once again, I'm not super confident in the winner in any of these categories anywhere, but it makes the most sense to me here in particular. I could maybe see them go for Inga because they're more international leaning, and I think she's lots of people's favorite performance in that film. I think she's a nice surprise. I don't think they're going to do Grande because I don't think this body in particular likes Wicked as much as I think she could win Critics' Choice or something. But do you think Grande's going to win?
Well, I take you back to 2022, which I believe was the first year of the return Golden Globes. And who won this category? Angela Bassett.
Oh.
So I think they are capable of it. And I think, again, Ariana Grande, I think, is well-positioned, lovable, obviously at the strength. We always talk about you have to be at the center of what works about your film to win an acting award. She clearly is. And many people regard it as her movie. I think Teyana will be hindered potentially with the limited screen time. And I think sentimental value. And I think it matters because, we talk about the Mahershala Ali comparison. Moonlight is an hour and 40 minutes. I think an hour 49. Somebody can clock me on that. This is almost an hour longer. So it matters more that she's early.
Then they see her. She
Yeah.
bookends the film really in a way.
Yeah, but so and I do think the sentimental value actors I have them both getting in, but I do think they're gonna, you
They
know,
might split.
I think they're gonna split votes. Um, so I do think Ariana Grande's well positioned. I would probably have her at one still. I still think that
Okay.
I don't know if the movie going down hurts her. I think Ariana Grande kind of flies in a bubble above whatever people feel about Wicked for Good. I think people just like her. And the same way that people just regarded Zoe Saldana separate from Amelia Perez, I
I
could see them doing the same thing with Grande.
I feel like the difference between her and people like Bassett and Saldana is like those are established actresses who have been around for
Mhm.
like decades. I think people still view Grande mostly as a pop star moving into the acting space. So I don't know.
I think she proved that. I think that's what last year was. And I think that's why it hurt her because I think they just saw her as like this great discovery. But I think in the years since, I mean, how many movies has she like signed or done or filmed? I think
She
she's
hasn't like
proven
done them
going to
yet
stick around.
per se.
Yeah, but enough people, Ben Stiller can say, "Oh yeah, we had a great time on set." I just think people. She has solidified that she's not jumping back to music and or doing something else. And she's now making a commitment to film. She's made that clear. The same way that Lady Gaga made it clear to everybody, which is why I think they gave her, best original song. Because they wanted to award her someplace. And we're like, you know what, you made a great film. We understand you're going to be sticking around. Unfortunately, hopefully she gets a project worthy of her talents in the future.
Yeah. How about someone, this is a body full of critics, someone who is doing quite well already in this category with critics. Miss Amy Madigan for Weapons has already won multiple major critic organizations for supporting actress. Could she win here as well?
Could she again? I want to see how people, because I feel like right now we're in the same place we were with The Substance last year, where we just don't know what they're going to do with that movie. I
Mhm.
want to see how people look at it. It's a very different type of, because the role that she plays. I mean, this is the other thing that I find interesting. It comes in late to the movie, so
Yeah.
what I'm surprised with is that Weapons isn't then getting other attention, unless people are just skipping the first hour of the movie.
Yeah.
Like you would think it would get other attention because people have to sit through the other parts of the movie, and if they like
I
Amy
just think
Madigan,
she's a lot of people's favorite part
I
of the
guess
movie.
I'm just that's why I'm kind of betting maybe a screenplay surprise nomination because I just feel like I would think there are other elements that people want to celebrate with Weapons because other than that, it is such a wild out there performance, and it could stick out like a sore thumb. But I mean, she kind of looks like a sore thumb with that wig,
She does
so
stand out.
she does stand out. So as far as a win, again, I'm going to be apprehensive. I just recently accepted the fact that she'll probably get in because again, it's such a bizarre
Me too.
performance.
Yeah.
And so we'll see. But I definitely have her getting in. Nina Hoss and Hedda, I love the idea
Yeah.
of any attention towards Nina Hoss, but I think the two people, three people,
Is it one of the Marty actresses?
I
Probably.
think both Marty actors need to be considered. And I also think Regina Hall could be a coattail thing. And I think people really admire her going outside of her comfort zone and being a great supporting presence in that film. You really are dead set on both of the sentimental value actors getting in? Because I continue to think.
Sure. Not at the
Yeah.
Oscars.
Okay.
With 6 spots here and a more international body and looking at the other options, for some reason, I don't feel like either of them are the actresses are going to get in here. I think maybe just being a later release and something about them getting at the Globes just doesn't quite make sense to me.
Mhm.
And just looking at the other options, I mean, Wonmi Musaku recently won the Gotham Award for supporting actress, so maybe I think she's higher up in the odds than she has been before. I
Mhm.
still don't know about Sinners and acting overall in general.
Yeah, I
And
don't
yeah,
think
I
they're
just
gonna.
ended up going with
Other
Nina
than Michael
Haas
B.
because I
Jordan.
think, I mean, especially when the lead acting categories are split up, I think it makes it easier for him. I just went with Nina Haas because I think it's one of the best performances of the year. And
Mhm.
hopefully critics have seen the film and can recognize that. And if they put Hedda in lead actress, maybe they've seen the film. All they have to do is see the film. And I feel like if you see the film, have you seen it? Like, I feel like if you've seen it, you'd put her in your top 5
Well,
supporting actors.
that's not the question. It's never a question of do I think it's worthy? Because there are a lot of her. I thought she should have been win competitive for
Yeah.
Tar. That's not the
Yeah.
question. I
I
do think
know.
though. I think that Gwyneth Paltrow needs to be somewhere. I don't know necessarily. I mean, you could take out one of the sentimental actors. You could take out Amy Madigan. You could take out Nina Hoss. I think Gwyneth Paltrow, as a veteran, as somebody who's returning to form, is a previous Oscar winner. And I think because Marty Supreme is going to be well regarded, I think she brings a presence to that role to this season that I think is going to be appreciated. I think she needs to be somewhere on the list, in my opinion.
I feel like more people shout out Odessa. I really need to see this film because the way people talk about the supporting actors, some people are like, Odessa's the clear standout. Gwyneth has no shot. And then some people are like, Gwyneth is great in it. So I'm like, I need to see it. Maybe that's also why I'm not putting either of them there. I'm like, I need to see it before I choose a side on because I
That's
don't think
fine.
both of them get in.
That's fine.
So
Yeah, I would be shocked if both of them got in. I'm not getting the same verve that that I received from like the Monica Barbaro kind of momentum when it comes to Odessa. So it makes me more confident that we're going to see a Belfast situation where the more, regarded name, the Oscar winner for the same movie, Judi Dench and Gwyneth Paltrow.
that's true.
I think they'll likely get in. I just think people, I saw that Gwyneth Paltrow had a tribute done yesterday, and
She's
RDJ was like
campaigning.
tearing up. Yeah, I think people really admire that she's kind of that. I think there's something about when you wait and you don't do a lot of work and then you come back, especially if it's in a movie like this, it proved that she came back for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. The other person I would consider is if they want to do another international performance and they love It Was Just an Accident, I think Miriam Afshari was like maybe my
Yeah,
favorite performance in that whole film. She was incredible. That final like 15-minute one take, a lot of that rests on her. So if they had taste, they would probably do Miriam or Nina Haas, but I don't know. I'm counting on
I would
them to have
love.
a little bit
I
of
would love.
taste.
I forget the actor's name. I apologize. I would love if the actor who plays the man that they're trying to see is who
Oh yeah.
the one who actually is tied to the tree at the end. I would love if he got
Yeah.
nominated. I mean, what a performance!
Yeah.
Um,
There's so many great
so
performances in that
yeah,
movie, but I
I
don't trust
to
the
me,
Oscars to do it, but here maybe.
I don't know how you feel. I think the supporting categories are more exciting for me than the lead
I
categories.
agree. Even though I think supporting actor, there's really kind of just a set top six, which I guess we can move on to now. And is there anything else
Well,
supporting actress
no,
wise?
I think we covered it. I supporting actor is so exciting for me because I really do think Jacob Elordi has a very good shot, and I think that is one of the coolest nominations. It is one of the most deserving nominations. I'm so excited for him, and as you see, he's on this list. Yeah, I honestly like.
This is the Skarsgård, Mescal, Penn, Del Toro, Elordi, Sandler. I don't know,
I think
maybe Lindo, but who else really?
I honestly think Billy Crudup could be a surprise because he's
I
kind of
would
seen
love
as.
that.
I think he's a little bit more of a awards darling. I believe he's a two-time
Hmm.
Emmy winner for The Morning Show. I don't know if he has any other Emmys other than that, but I could see him maybe taking Sandler's spot. But I think that top five is locked, and I think it's locked at the Oscars. I just think it's
I
over. I
agree.
think
Yeah,
that's your five. I mean, William H. Macy in Train Dreams, but I don't think it's
I
getting
would
its
love it again.
picture,
It's too
so I
small.
don't think it'll happen. Andrew Scott for Blue Moon would love it. Jeremy Strong, I mean, is always is always strong, but I don't think this year.
It's a bad
Um,
movie. Yeah, I think Crudup is like my like he has like a killer scene in that movie. I Sandler is good in it. It's just not like a big showy performance. He's just kind of there for a lot of it. Whereas Crudup has like one like killer scene, so he could pull a Judd Hirsch. But either way, I think neither of the J. Kelly boys are stronger than Elordi for Frankenstein. So I think it
yeah,
kind of negates even talking about it.
I think Adam Sandler benefits more for the industry awards because I think there are many people in the industry who have an Adam Sandler, like who the character that he plays, they have that person in their life, and I
Yeah,
think that
that's true.
endearing connection helps. But does that mean that he takes one of these five spots away when we move to those awards that are only five spots? I don't know. I don't think so.
Hmm.
But
No,
maybe he
I mean,
did. Did he get in for Hustle at SAG? I mean, sometimes
yeah,
he could surprise, but I don't think
he
so.
could get SAG. I think he could hit a lot of the precursors, but when it comes to the Oscars at the end of the day, I feel like Lordy's going to be stronger, and I feel like one battle's going to get both those guys in there. And I think Skarsgård
Yeah.
and Mescal are pretty locked up. I think Skarsgård's going to win here. I don't know about the Oscars overall, but this body gives Skarsgård more than any of these other
Is
potential
there
winners.
still a small chance that Mescal's put into lead?
I don't think so. All of those top three there, honestly, are leads in my opinion. But I think Skarsgård's more of a lead than Mescal is in him. I think
I
Skarsgård
mean,
is the
you could
lead in
argue
September.
Elordi. I mean, Elordi is a lead as well in
Yeah,
some
a
regards.
co-lead at least. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah,
Benicio del Toro is
so
really the only supporting performance among
he
them.
is. Yeah, maybe he should win then. Also doing quite well with the critics already.
Yeah.
He won over
I'm
Sean Penn the
surprised.
other
I
day.
mean, I'm surprised, but I'm also not surprised at his because
I
I'm
just
surprised
yeah.
because it is a little like it's a little slight compared to the rest of the movie, but I think that's why he's a different tone from the rest of the movie, and I think he sticks out in a good way. And I just again,
Mhm.
people love actors getting a chance to prove why they're one of the greats, I think that's why veterans, when they come back to these sort of roles, they have such an impact, because you get to add this performance to the legacy that they've had before. So you've accepted Stellan Skarsgård is winning this category?
Here, yes. I still think this is not going to be a sweep anywhere. I think people are going to win at different places. Like, I think Critics' Choice might do Sean Penn. I think SAG might. I don't think SAG is going to do Skarsgård in particular. I don't know who they're going to do, but I don't think that they'll do Skarsgård. And BAFTA could be Skarsgård or Mescal.
SAG, so I would love if SAG did a Lordy. I think that would be a SAG thing. They love Netflix. They love the younger stars. That would be so. And they love horror. They did Emily Blunt. I would love that. That would be fun. Season.
That would be very fun. But I do think this is
Ariana winning. That would also be cool.
Clarify that. I do think this is going to be a race for both the supporting actor, or I think supporting actors could end up being a sweep. Whereas I think, regardless, I don't think this one will end up being a sweep. So
you think it could be a sweep if Teyana wins,
or Madigan? Like, if she just pulls a Kieran Culkin like last year, she just starts winning all the Critics Awards, then maybe.
I mean, if BAFTA went Madigan, that'd be crazy. And I also don't think BAFTA is going to do Teyana. I think it would be a sweep if one of the sentimental value actors. Yeah.
Yeah. But they're not going to win SAG, so it would be hard for it to be a sweep, for sure.
I think the only sweep this year, I think the leads will sweep. I think Timothy and Buckley. I think Jesse and Timmy will sweep.
Whoever ends up winning an actor will probably sweep. I agree. I just don't maybe agree on which one, but we'll see.
You love tempting fate.
I do, I guess. I'm just testing myself here. Director Paul W. Anderson is winning. Chloe Zhao is getting nominated. Jafar Panahi in particular here. I think he's like, I mean, the narrative for him is insane. I feel like honestly he might be PGA's biggest competition here. Not that it really matters. I think he will be rewarded elsewhere, which we'll get to. Joachim Trier, sentimental value, makes sense. Ryan Coogler, Sinners, makes sense. I think that's your top 5. And then they do a 6th spot here. And I think lots of people would be like, in the start pick would be Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme. But they did Kyle Kapadia last year. I think they're just going to do something off in this category again that most people don't expect, maybe more international leaning. And since I have it in picture, and it's a pretty distinct direction, I went with Kleber Mendonça Filho for The Secret Agent. I could also maybe see Park Chan-wook. I feel like it's going to be one of more of those style picks rather than a Marty Supreme right now.
I mean, I think Guillermo del Toro and Josh Safdie are worth mentioning given the strength of those films. But if I was putting in a 6, I would have your 5 and Park Chan-wook, I think, because I think No Other Choice has a stronger hold in its Best Picture category than The Secret Agent has in it.
That's true.
But I also think Secret Agent has helped that it likely is going to win a Golden Globe.
I mean, won Best Director at Cannes too. So I mean,
so it's very strong. I think the name recognition of Park Chan-wook helps him a little bit. But I think it's a very worthy potential nom. And so they're probably 6 and 7, and then I think 8 and 9 are Guillermo and Josh Safdie.
Yeah, agreed. What
about
screenplay?
Real quick, Oliver Lax and Surratt. Any chance there? That could be.
I just think that's too divisive of a movie. I feel like you either like that movie or you like hate it.
Okay, just worth mentioning.
But maybe, I mean, he got nominated at like the Gotham Awards, so it's plausible. We shall see. Screenplay, I think it was just an accident, is pulling the Anatomy of a Fall trajectory. It already began when it won Screenplay at the Gotham Awards, and it's going to continue when it wins here, in my opinion. But other than that, I have the basic top 6. Also One Battle, Hamnet, Sentinel Value, Sinners, and Marty Supreme. That's, I think, just a safe bet to go with. I could take a swing with that last spot once again, but I didn't know what to do. So I just went with the top 6.
If it doesn't get into directing, you could see The Secret Agent pop up here.
I feel like that's more of a directing film than writing, though.
I also think a Blue Moon could potentially show up here. It's a very writerly film.
It is.
I love using a word like writerly when talking about the benefits of the written word. And then I also think Begonia could potentially sneak in because I think that's proving to be quite strong at the Oscars in the screenplay category, though it helps when you split original and adapted.
That's true.
So the one thing I want to mention, just because I think a lot of people are pushing for this, and I think because they're trying to be diplomatic, I don't think Sinners is going to be competitive in this category. I do not see it pulling a Get Out where they want to give the movie something and so they give it screenplay. I just don't see that
It's not
happening.
nearly
And I
as much
don't
of a
think
writing achievement as that
I
film was.
agree. It's a directorial achievement. I think Ryan
Mhm.
Coogler was seen as a directing, like a director with a capital D. I just don't see that happening. I think you have it correctly placed at number 5.
Non-English film is what they call their international film category. 6 spots here. I went with 4 of the Neon, the top 4 Neon. I think that's pretty safe to do here. It was just an accident. Zen Valley, The Secret Agent, no other choice, especially if all of them are also in the best film categories. It kind of makes sense to just have them here. It wouldn't really make sense to have any of them missing. And when you look at like the past films that they go for, they tend to sometimes lean a little more like films that don't end up at the Oscars, but like European based. I think they're maybe more European biased. So I went with Sound of Falling. Kind of fits that mold. And I do still think The Voice of Hinra Job can get in here. I do think there are enough people passionate about it that it can sneak in. Other options, I guess, would be like Surratt or something, or Nouvelle Vague, but
Yeah.
that's what I'm going with for now. Animated film. Speaking of 6, there's a clear top 5 here with K-pop, Little Ollie, Zootopia 2, Arco, and Elio, in my opinion. And I guess I went with Deja 2 because it's an international body. And I guess what else? Bad Guys 2, In Your Dreams are the other options.
The SpongeBob movie, Search for
The
SquarePants.
SpongeBob movie. I'm sure it will be great.
I have In Your Dreams. I don't think Neja 2 is
Yeah,
going
I
to
could see that.
play. Any chance for Zootopia 2? Kind of pulling like How to Train Your Dragon 2, losing out to Big Hero 6, which was just the Disney behemoth, anchor. Any chance for Zootopia 2?
How to Train Your Dragon 2 was a sequel, and I just feel like they don't do sequels unless it's Toy Story.
Being the highest grossing movie of the year, and it also is like it's at what 95% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I don't
Like,
think it's
there's
going to
no
outgross my number 6, is what I would say.
well, that's a
That's
step back.
like $2 million. The only thing that can do that is Avatar.
Yeah, we'll see. So let me ask you this because this you can answer. Will Avatar 3 make more than $2 billion? Will it cross
Yes,
that
I think
threshold?
it'll still be less than Way of Water, I
Way of
think, but I
Water.
think it'll still be 2
So you think
billion.
it'll be like around Force Awakens, Infinity War, just
Just
putting
barely crossing,
putting
making
a
it
putting a
over.
Navi toe over.
Yeah.
Do they have toes? Yeah, they have toes.
Yes, his children have 5, but they're supposed to only have 4, but it's because they're human bred,
Exactly.
and that's why they consider them freaks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Freak.
Yep.
Bro.
Exactly.
There you go.
The bros continue in this one. The bros
Oh,
continue.
Lordy.
Original score: Sinners, One Battle, Hamlet, Frankenstein, Mari Supreme, and Begonia is what I went with. I don't really know what else I would go with. F1 maybe. I mean, this is my top 5 at the
You've
Oscars.
seen
plus
Avatar:
Begonia.
Fire and Ash. Is it a good score?
It always is, but I just always doubt sequels and original score. I'm like, how much of this is reused?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
No, I think it's this looks like a good list to me. Maybe House of Dynamite could surprise, but it's going to be weird if this is the only place it pops up.
The only thing, yeah.
And then maybe Marty Supreme if they go overboard with that one.
Well, that is there number 5.
No, I'm saying like Marty Supreme. Like I don't know. I feel like that's more on the bubble, like because also it's kind of lesser known filmmaker. So like Marty Supreme's a maybe. I think Jay Kelly's a maybe. And
I can see Jay Kelly. It was a showy
honestly
score, and it's brutal.
Yeah, and I think Begonia is a maybe. I think it's probably smart to have them
is.
in there. But I do think they're the ones on the fences.
Yeah, I agree. Agreed. First song. Speaking of K-pop demon actors, and Golden is going to be sweeping this category. And then I've got I Lied to You from Sinners, and I've got Girl in the Bubble as the one Wicked song. I've got Dream as One, the Avatar song, which, I mean, they did the Miley song last year. Why would they not do another Miley song this year? Last Time I Seen the Sun, the other Sinners song, and then Train Dreams from Train Dreams, because they don't do Diane Warren here. That's an Oscars only thing.
Yes. I think the other contender that could take out the other Sinner song is the song from F1 that Ed Sheeran did. Because he also did the song for Zootopia, which I thought was interesting.
He's trying. Final category, the most important one, which I didn't make a slide for, but you'll see here visually. Cinematic box office achievement. I think you've got Sinners, Avatar, Wicked, F1, Zootopia, Weapons, Lilo and Stitch, and Superman is what I went with.
Please, not Lilo and Stitch.
It made $1 billion though.
I know.
Did they do K-pop here? Because they also count streaming numbers.
No, they do.
They do.
Yeah, cinematic and box office achievement. Definitely something I associate with Netflix.
Streaming. Yeah.
Nominate
It did
Stranger
make a lot of
Things.
money when they put it in theaters.
Yeah, relatively. Yeah, I mean, again, this is like casting at the Oscars. I have no idea what the
Yeah.
criteria is for this category, so you could throw in anything. I mean, frankly, if we're as far as achievements, I mean, you could throw in The Conjuring 4. That was an achievement. That I mean, for
That's true.
that franchise, that was a big deal. You have Mission Impossible in there?
I don't. No.
I think that could
I
be
think
in
that
there.
was maybe, yeah.
I mean, it's Tom Cruise. Again, I don't. We know what this category is. It's just to get in there.
Yeah.
Maybe K-pop does make it in. I could see that happening. Who do you think wins?
Sinners. I think maybe this is where they give it to Sinners because I don't think they give it drama.
Yeah, it's a shame. This category just is so sad. It's like the participation trophy. You know, it's the participation trophy for people who made money. That is so antithetical, and like it just okay, whatever.
Yeah,
it gave us a nice speech when John M. Chu won last year, so maybe we'll get.
And the Barbie speech was good too, I think.
Yeah, so. It's been a minute since that one.
It has. That was our first winner in the category.
To another Nikki Glaser monologue. I think she's going to crush again.
Yeah.
Yes, I think she has been the best since Tina and Amy.
She is a great host, so looking forward to it as well. Comment your guys' Golden Globe predictions down below. What kind of swings are you taking for potential more out of the blue international picks? All that stuff. Like the video, subscribe because we are really entering award season at this point, and you'll want to stick around. So thank you all, and see you in the next video.
Bye, everyone.